After your Matt Brown fight, you said you would retire if the UFC
Yeah.
didn't offer you a contract. How does it feel to have a new contract and actually get the fight that you wanted?
Yeah, dude, it feels amazing. Super, blessed, super thankful. Thank you to the UFC, thank you to Dana White. I talked to him right after the Matt Brown fight, after saying all that and everything. He actually, I left literally right after the fight, went to the hotel, grabbed my things, jumped in my car, and headed back to the farm right away. So he FaceTimed me on the drive home with my family and everything. So it was pretty awesome, and we kind of came to something together right then. So. Super happy, man. I'm super happy. I still get to, I'm still going to be fighting and, going to continue to go out there. And this is the way I'll be able to support my family too. And, doing what I love, man. I still love it. I still love to fight. I still love to put on, exciting fights and I enjoy it. I enjoy the process and everything. So, I'm excited to still be doing it for the UFC and yeah, to retire. Yeah, I was willing to hang him up. My goal always was to get to the UFC, fight the best with the best, and so when that road ends, I'll be done.
Well, was that the mentality? Like you said that when you got to UFC, you wouldn't want to go take a step backwards. You see a lot of fighters that kind of take a step backwards and go back to the regional scene, return to the UFC. That was just never
Yeah,
in your mindset. You're like, I'm gonna be in the UFC, stay in the UFC. If I'm not in the UFC, I'm done.
yeah, absolutely. So even early on, it was one of those things where like I gotta not only to win fights to get to climb the ladder and get paid more to support my family and all that, but it's like I gotta win fights to stay here, and then the hardest part is to stay in the UFC. So uh, continue to win so I can stay here because once I'm out, I'm not gonna do a regional scene thing and try to work my way back to get to the UFC. It'd be it. So hopefully, I was on the after the Matt Brown thing, I was able to kind of say I can go out on my own terms, kind of thing, because I was at the end of my contract. And but yeah, I still want to fight, of course. I still enjoy it, still love it, still think I'm hitting my stride. I'm finally getting going, and you're only going to see the best of me here on July 2nd.
I feel like a lot of people mistakenly like categorize you with the Matt Browns and Robbie Lawlers when you are
Yeah.
not as old as those guys. You're actually much younger than them, right? But you've been fighting for so long in the UFC and the type of fights that you have. I feel like that's why the fans categorize you in that group, and it's not a bad group to be
Yeah.
categorized in, right?
No, hey, you know what? I'm honored to be categorized in a group with those names. Robbie Lawler, Matt Brown. I think we're definitely guys cut of the same cloth, and I don't think there's very many of us left in there that in the UFC that go in there and throw down like we do. So it's an honor to be mentioned with their names and to be able to fight these guys before their career ends, before my career ends. And go in there and have some fun and continue to put on a great show.
You resign against Robbie Lawler, and you're fighting on a pay-per-view, a massive pay-per-view against a
Massive,
former
yeah.
champ. Man, fighting a former champ is always huge for any fighter, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely like his credentials, everything he's done. Being a former champ is awesome too. Is huge. He's reached the pinnacle of the top. So it's definitely big. But what excites me the most is not everything he's done in the past. It's how he's done it and how he fights. That's what excites me because I love the way he fights. I've watched him for a long time, and this is actually like a full circle moment for me. I met Robbie Lawler, I think pretty positive is before I even started fighting. It was right before I was getting ready to start having training for my first amateur fight, and my wife had bought tickets to go to International Fight Week, do the whole thing, and go to a fight and everything. And I met Robbie Lawler at one of the booths one time. Well, actually, I was walking in there with my dad and my wife, and seeing him there, and I was like, my dad went over, talked to him, whatever, and he had asked if I had fought, and we said, he's about to have his first fight, stuff like that. So met him and everything like that. It was kind of, surreal. And for now, like full circle, now I'm fighting him on International Fight Week, so it's coming all the way around, man. And we're gonna square up in there and throw down. It doesn't get much better than that.
Lawler, he's 40 years old now, right? So he's on the back end of his career. Most of the guys you fight are all younger than you. I think they have all been younger than you. So how does it feel to be
Yeah.
the younger guy in the matchup, the young buck?
It is what it is. All I gotta say though is I'm definitely not going into this fight thinking like I'm the young guy and he's the old guy kind of thing. No, he's dangerous, and for good reason. The way he fights, the way he brings it, you don't hear many people calling out Robbie Lawler, many people asking to fight Robbie Lawler, because it's going to be one of those fights. Uh, some some top guys have called him out to use him to step up or whatever. If when I beat him, whatever, if I move up, great. But for me, it's more of just like being able to share the octagon with him and go to war against him, because he's that kind of guy, and I want to test myself against someone dangerous like him, and I know he's going to try to take my head off, and I'm going to be ready to give it right back to him.
Yeah, and Lawler, he got back in the win column in his last fight against Nick Diaz. A lot of people were talking about how Diaz looked, or how Diaz underperformed, and not how Lawler looked.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he looked great too.
Yeah,
I thought he looked great.
Yeah, and like in that fight, what did you see out of him? Why did you feel he looked so good?
I thought, he was smart. Like, I thought he put a pace. He bring a pace right away. He put it on Nick. I know there was some weight issues or whatever, or I don't know if that was mind games or what. Who knows? But he put it on Nick. He put it on him right away, and often, kept a pace on him. His combinations looked good. His movement looked good. He took some strikes, but doesn't look. He was able to work through them and continue to keep the pressure. So, man, I thought he looked great. And yeah, for people who said he's underperformed or didn't really talk about his performance, I thought it was solid on his end, and look forward to him bringing it just as hard.
Yeah, he's gonna definitely bring it hard, and you're right. You're right. He did perform really well. I don't know why people keep talking about Nick Diaz and what he did when they should be talking about Robbie Lawler. And there was a lot of pressure on Robbie Lawler, right? Because he was on a 4-fight losing streak, and that could have, if you lose 4 in a row is a long streak, and that could have some bad effects on your mentality. You've never experienced like a 4-fight losing streak, but what can that do to your mentality if you snap a streak like that, do you think?
I think it definitely puts like a lot of energy in you, when you snap a streak like that, especially for him. He had fought Nick before, he had lost before to Nick. There's a lot of hype on this fight. There's a lot of going on. He ended up moving up weight class because of the whole weight thing. And that just told me, right then told me like, yeah, I mean, he's just ready to go. He's ready to get after him. So, man, I think him snapping that, his energy's high right now. He's ready to keep going, to keep the streak going, maybe build off it, to continue to rise. Who knows, maybe, try to get one more chance at the title. He's always right there. He's literally a couple fights away, no matter who it is. So I definitely look to put that to a halt, and create my own momentum as I go. And like I said, it's an honor to fight him and everything. And I'm a huge fan. But I'm a huge fan who's going to bring it and put it on him, and he's going to see, that's how I'm going to show him how big of a fan I am, because I'm going to put it on him.
Yeah, definitely. And, your last fight, you went to Ohio, Matt Brown's home state, and beat him. Entering that fight, every fighter has a game plan. They have techniques that they want to utilize in a fight. What did you take away from, sharing the cage with Matt Brown for 15 minutes?
Yeah, so I went in, I didn't really have like a game plan, just work my stand-up, work in the clinch and stuff. I figured we'd work in the clinch. I figured he would go for takedowns eventually. But one of my personal goals was to beat him in the clinch, Yes, he swept me a couple times, which we prepared for, but just being in the heat of the moment, and I was doing really well in the clinch with my elbows and everything. It kind of just spaced out, him sweeping and stuff like that. Man, he had some killer sweeps. Awesome. It's just kind of one of those things like, oh, God damn it. Like, I can't believe I let him do that to me right now. But, you bounce back. But I do feel like I got the better of him in the clinch, and I think he was kind of caught off guard by that. Landing my own in-tight elbows, short elbows, things like that. So for me, that was a exciting moment to share the clinch work with him, and kind of I feel like I bettered him in it. So it was just, dude, it was awesome, to be able to share the octagon with him.
Do you feel like that will be something that you can utilize in this fight coming up against Lawler?
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely going to, you know, use all my weapons. That's for sure. It's not going to just be punches and kicks and, things like that, but I'm going to utilize all my weapons that I have, and, I'm continuing to sharpen and everything like that. For me, can I wrestle? Yes. Can he wrestle? Yes. But you see Robbie Lawler, he doesn't really wrestle, you know what I mean? And you see me, I don't really wrestle. So I like, if there's one person, like, I knew Matt Brown was going to shoot eventually. If there's one person that I had to say, all right, I don't think he's going to shoot, it'd be Robbie Lawler. Like, we're going to go toe to toe, and it's going to be blood, and it's going to be till someone freaking falls over or dies or something. Like, like that's what it's coming down to, like, if first one to take a shot is like, the sucker or something like that, like, I don't think any of us are going to take a shot. So, but who knows? Maybe he might, like you said, he snapped a 4-5 win streak. His energy's high, he's going to look to try to continue winning. So who knows? Maybe he will. Hopefully I clock him hard enough so that he's trying to shoot for a takedown, and I'll make him pay for that too.
That's what you want, right? You want to hit him hard enough to where he doesn't know what he's doing, and that's when he's going to shoot for the takedown, right? And for yourself, we've talked about it in past interviews about the injury that you sustained. Not really injury. What would you call that? That would be,
gosh, near death I experienced.
Yeah. And coming back from that, I feel like the fight was the Jason Witt fight, right? When you came back from that.
Yeah, when I came back. Yeah.
When you came back, if the judges went your way, you'd be on a 4-fight winning streak right now. Do you kind of look back at that fight and say, like, damn, man, like, do you dissect it more?
No, honestly, I don't. Like, yes, there is that option. Maybe the judges went if they went my way. He had some good moments in the fight. I felt like I had some strong moments in the fight. I think I finished with stronger moments, and the judges gave it to him, and he was the better man that night. That's the only way I see it. It wasn't my night; it was his night, and good for him. He fought a good fight. And that's all I can see. I don't look back. I don't try to be like, if I just would have done this or whatever, it's over. All I got to do, okay, well, you know what? I didn't get to win. But for me, it was still a win. I came back from near-death experience and fought again after being told I probably, can't, and continue to do so, and then fought again and again. And so, looking back, I just see it as a learning experience and a notch on my belt that I needed to tell myself that I can continue to do this. And yeah, it was a close one, but like I said, it was his night, and that's the only way I see it. And I just move on from there. And so I don't even look back to it.
Has there been like changes made to like your routine in the last couple of camps that have, benefited you in these fights?
Absolutely. We've been able to add more and more, as coming back from that and, fighting. In each fight, we've been able to add more and more to my training, back to my training. Before it was like a back surgery, so I was returning back from that. Then it was emergency surgery, and it was returning back from that. So, things had been, we had cut out, changed the way I train completely and changed the way I do things 100%. And then now we're able to get back kind of into, bring some of those things back. Some of them we threw completely out and realize that, like, okay, this is working better for us. The way we're training, and definitely the way we're training, is still completely different, I feel like, and smarter in a sense. And I'm getting the most out of my practices and the most out of my training, and really loving every second of it and enjoying it and continuing to learn and get better and better. And, I feel like this is really, I really feel like I'm hitting a stride. This is it. I'm hitting that peak, and you're going to see it July 2nd when I come to perform. I mean, I'm excited.
What's like the picture you want to paint, in this fight? Because I feel, you guys are mixed martial artists, right? The artist part. What's the picture?
Yeah. The picture is just not perfection. I don't want perfection. to reach for perfection is absurd to me. You know, I'm never going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. And I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be messy. I want it to be a mess. I want it to be grueling. I want it to be dirty. I want it to be nasty. When we get in there, I want you to look at it, the canvas, and you're going to see splatters every which way. You don't know which direction, what was thrown, what had happened here, or anything like that, because it's painted all over the canvas. And then by the time it's done, it's going to all come together to be something very beautiful. And that's just how I see it, man. It's going to be a mix of everything. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be violent, and it's going to be extremely amazing and beautiful.
Just like any other fight, right? Just like
Yeah.
Basically, you want Robbie Lawler to be sitting in his rocking chair at 60 years old, and some kid, his grandchild, asked him, like, "What was the hardest fight you had?" Bryan Barberena.
I would love to have that honor. Absolutely, would love to have that honor. What's the toughest fight you've ever had? Right there. I mean, he's been in some tough ones. Rory McDonald to him, I see that one, but I want to take that slot. I want it to be like, what's the toughest fight? What's the toughest guy you ever fought? The best battle, guy who read Bryan Barberena. Like, that's what I want. I want that title.
I think you've had that title for a couple of the guys you fought. Now,
for sure.
It seems like you're going down a list of, like, legends of the division. Is there some other welterweights that you would like to compete against before you hang them up?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not ruling out a run. Let's not rule out a run.
Oh yeah.
Who says I'm short of that? People may say, oh, well, he just fights a wrestler or whatever. I'm telling you, I can wrestle. I can do with both. Yeah, I get caught off guard, get taken down sometimes, but I tell you what, most people they're not holding me down very long. So, I'll do some damage and get in there. Maybe I'll wrestle some people up. So I'll show them what I'm about.
Yeah, flip the script.
That jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That bam jitsu, baby. But that B1 wrestling, that's what we call it. That's what it is. That's my wrestling, the B1 wrestling. It's a little level above D1, so.
There you go.
But yeah, man, it's just don't rule out a run. There's definitely some names. I definitely want those fights with guys that are going to be exciting, be fun fights, and there's a lot of them in the division. And there's some newer guys who are making some noise, and go in there and bring it. I want to fight the guys who want to come fight, who want to bring it. Not whatever. I don't care if they want to mix it up, or they want to wrestle or whatever. That's fine. But let's fight. Let's bring it. Let's go after it. Let's not tiptoe around or whatever. Let's just get after it. So there's definitely a lot of those guys. I got some names in mind, but yeah, the climb happens. It starts with Robbie Lawler. That's the main one. That's who I'm worried about, and for good reason. He's a dangerous guy, and so I'm ready to go take it to him and get this win, and then we'll see what happens next. But I gotta get through this dangerous man.
July 2nd, UFC 276. Bryan Barberena versus Robbie Lawler. What else do you want on the card? Well, there's some title fights, but this is the fire matchup, though. A lot of people are looking at this.
This is it. Yeah. If you're not looking at this, come on. I know the main card, the whole card is stacked from head to toe. It's any of these fights, I believe, could be like a headliner of a fight night. Any of the fights on the card pretty much could be a headliner of a fight night. But our fight is something special, man. There's the title fights and everything like that, but I think maybe our fight's flying under the radar a little bit, and people are going to be pleasantly surprised on fight night when they're watching everything like that. They're going to see us come up on the TV or see us walk out, and they're going to be like, "Oh man, this is the fight. This fight, the people's main event right here. This is it."
Are you guys on the pay-per-view part, or have you decided? Have they decided?
No. As far as if I got to decide, no. But no, I think we're on. From what I've seen, we're right before the main of the prelims.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think from what the card that I saw, it was like Riddell and
Turner.
What's that guy's name?
Turner.
Yes. Yeah, which is a good fight.
Yeah, that's a good fight. You never know what
happens.
They're ranked. You never know what happens by the time it showtime happens. I would love to see this fight as the curtain jerker for the pay-per-view. The first fight of the pay-per-view. UFC needs to do something. Anyways, thank you so much, Bryan, man, for the time.
Dude, of course. Thank you. Always great talking with you, man.